want to talk for a couple of minutes, and I guess this is a commercial for my upcoming Self-Actualization class. 23 or 24 years ago, a patient came into my office and literally forced me into a seminar. By forced me, he didn't grab me and put me in a headlock, but followed me around the office on a Monday for about 40 minutes. And Tuesday, he called me at my house and told me that if I said no or hung up, he was going to come at my house and sit until I agreed to do the class. Now, he wasn't a salesman for the class, he was a salesman for his own business, but he and his wife had just completed the class. She was curing herself of cancer naturally, and he said it was the best thing that they'd ever done to help her through her trying to get rid of the cancer, which she eventually did, by the way. And I told him I couldn't do the class, but his insistence, I had to do the class. I didn't have the money or the time, which is always the consideration for everything, you know what I mean? It was just before Christmas time. I'd done a whole bunch of other seminars just before that because it was one of the things I was really into professionally and personally. I did a lot of seminars. And I took the seminar, again, because he forced me into it. Now, everybody who's listening, I wouldn't force you into my seminars, but I want to tell you that the seminar that's coming up in a couple of weeks is my favorite seminar, called Self-Actualization. And I've done it for 15 years now. Taught by the man who I took the seminar with, who changed my life. And I know that sounds so cliche that I don't like to say it, but it is what happened. And I listen to people talk, and I've listened to them talk over the years about what happens to them when they do the class, because it doesn't seem like when they're going through it that the class can have the impact it does. One of the things we allow people to do is sleep in the classroom, and sometimes I almost demand it because people get so tired. And pushing people through their tiredness, you can't honor the spirit, because if the physical body is tired, the spirit really has a tough time responding in a fun, joyful, happy way. I had an accountant to the stars come to a class in the LA area, and his sister brought him to it. He'd done everything, and he was getting upset at the absurdity of the class and the fact that I wasn't processing and doing things and running them through processes and have them clear out their past, which I don't think works, but it does for some people. It just doesn't for me. I'd done it. It didn't seem to work for me. On the second day, I said, truly, if you want to sleep in the class, you can. There's blankets and pillows. He said, okay, this is as absurd as it gets. I can't believe this. And went to sleep on the floor. I ask only that you sleep in a certain area in the room, so you stay in the energetics of the room. I saw him about 5 or 6 weeks later when I went back out to California, and he listed the number of changes that happened just after the class. And he talked about a better relationship with his wife, better relationship with his kids, golfing more often than he had. Looking at the life he had created that he'd been feeling guilty about for 14 or 15 years, and all of a sudden realizing that he'd created the life of perfection, the one that he really wanted, the one that he really enjoyed. The job that he created for himself in the accounting firm he was the marketer, the person who did the customer service, talking to clients, which he loved doing. He loved doing numbers, but he loved that more. And he said, I surrounded myself with a bunch of great people, and I didn't realize it till after the class. He said, it had nothing to do with the class. I said, probably not. And he said, but it all happened right after the class. I said, I hear that a lot. The class is so innocuous, it's intense, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't seem like we're doing anything. And in fact, we do a tremendous amount of nothing in a weekend. And out of that nothing comes you and your capacity to alter your life and how it's done. He said to me, I've got the clients that would do this. He said, you would split fees with me if I could. And he said, and I could get $5,000 for this, for the time that you're doing it. And he said, you would split that with me 50-50, wouldn't you? And I said, yes, absolutely, I would. And I said, will you sell it for me? He said, no. I said, really, how come? And he said, because nobody will believe that this is possible. And that's what I hear a lot. So the class is coming up. Check my schedule, check my website. Have a fun day until then. This went a little longer than I expected, but we'll talk to you soon anyway.